The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Salem Media of Hawaii.
Welcome to Generations Radio, where the focus is on our seniors and their families. We are here each Saturday afternoon from 5 until 6 p.m., bringing you resourceful information with our radio team of professionals in the field of aging. Stay with us for the next 1 hour as we explore different ways to make life more exciting and meaningful for our extraordinary seniors. Right here on AM 690 The Answer. And now, here is our host and the publisher of Generations Magazine, Percy Ihara.
Welcome back to Generations Radio. I am Percy Ihara, your host, here every Saturday afternoon from 5 to 6. And as you guys know, we repeat it Sunday afternoons from 3 to 4. So when you see your parents, you have great information to talk to them about. If not, tell them if they have a radio, because I know my mother-in-law doesn't have a radio. Well, very few people have radios. So anyway, we're here every Saturday, Sunday. And as a resource magazine, we just convert all this and put this on radio so people can come to our website as well, because our website houses all these conversations and resources on our website at generations808.com. So today we have a very special guest, Sandra Wataoka, and she's an occupational therapist. But Sandra, you feel a really big need, and maybe the parents don't want to know that, but you feel a really big need because you guys are actually, you're a certified trainer, and specifically with the CarFit program, right?
Yes.
So give us a little background, first of all, why you got involved with it and what you do as an occupational therapist.
Well, as an occupational therapist, we help people return to their highest quality of living. And so driving is one of the highest levels of activities that anyone can do, not just seniors. And in the field of occupational therapy, you can specialize in driving. So I have a certification in rehabilitation driving. And so I have credentials that are CDRS, Certified Rehabilitation Specialist, Driver Specialist. And I also have a CDI, which is a Certified Driver Instructor.
It's like a race car driver? Or you must
No,
be.
just like high school or for new drivers.
Oh, you train new drivers too?
I can. So students, and they don't have to be students, but people who have never driven before, I have the background to be able to help them drive, whether they have a disability or no disability. So I'm able to work with seniors as well as adults and students.
So do you do a lot of this though around town?
I do. There is a need for it. Yes.
Huge need, I'm sure.
Yes.
But, you know, we're going to get into CarFit and your event coming up. But, you know, we talked off air before this. Driving is probably one of the hardest things for seniors to do, as you know. And you work with seniors a lot, right? Yes. How you know, most parents don't want to give up the car or don't want to stop driving. You know, whenever I see a senior or especially like a relative, I don't want to say my mom and dad, but like relatives, I usually try to walk around the car just to see if there's any more dings or new dings. But now, it's a tough question. How do you get them to understand that maybe they should take a class or maybe they should maybe stop driving? Well,
so that's always a sensitive area, sensitive topic, and it does depend on your relationship with your parents or the elderly that you're trying to guide along. But I think one of the great things, Percy, you said is how you do the walk around the car. That's important because if you do see dings or you see some scratches that are new, you do want to inquire. So it does take initiative on someone's part to be able to ask that senior person, you know, how did this come about? You might see some defensiveness on their part, or they might be very willing to be able to express what happened. But either way, there are different avenues that someone can take to get more education or to continue to follow that path of, do they need a formal evaluation or something like the CarFit program? The CarFit is a national event. It's developed by national organizations. It was originally developed by the American Society on Aging, and then in collaboration with 3 national organizations, which are AARP at the national level, AAA at the national level, and the American Occupational Therapy Association. Those 3 agencies came together to develop this CarFit program. Here in Hawaii, our OT Association of Hawaii, as well as AARP Hawaii and AAA, we work with the Southern California region, who kind of covers the Hawaii region. So the all these 3 agencies in Hawaii put on events, and my coordinator, my co-coordinator, Pamela Anderson, and myself, we try to hold 2 events per year.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. I've heard of it, but so I want to really try and go to one of these. So I know, because for me, like as a magazine publisher, we're exposed to so many different news stories and programs and events, but I like to actually see them so I really know what's going on. So if I have a senior or somebody comes to me, I know what it's about, because it's really important to get the experience of maybe talking to a senior, but also really just learning about driving. It's one of my pet peeves. I really don't like to drive, between you and me.
And now with all your listeners.
Yeah, and so a lot of our listeners are baby boomers. We do an interview with Mike Buck every Friday morning to promote the show, and I know his audience is a lot of baby boomers. So I know we get a lot of listeners from that. So, I mean, do you guys get trained at all, like how to talk to your parents, or do you guys, are they doing anything about that, or how to maybe bring a psychologist in to teach you guys? Because I'm sure that's a big problem.
Well, the CarFit event is a nice way to be able to bring up this topic. So regarding CarFit itself, and even trying to answer some of the questions that you're asking and concerns that you're bringing up, CarFit is a 20-minute free appointment. Okay, and the 3 agencies are there to help the senior go through this appointment, and it's educational. It's educational based. It's not there to red pen the senior. It's not there to take away their license. They come in, they just have to sign a waiver, and that's the only time we know their name as far as personal information. Any other statistics that we gather, which they just fill out a form on their age and how they found out about the program, that just goes to the national database, but not their name. Okay, we assign them a number. So it's anonymous in that sense. And then they go through a 12-point checklist, and that's where we fit them to their car because of many things that change while they're aging, such as they shrink. They might be sharing their car now with their grandchild, and so the grandchild might be 6 feet, a 6 foot young boy who needs to push his chair back, and then now the grandparent needs to scoot their chair up, and things have been adjusted. So all of these things that we teach them, and it might seem basic, but a lot of times the seniors don't know that they can adjust all the various what the buttons are for in their car and things like that. And so we want them to fit better in their vehicle so that they can be much more safe. And then at that time, we also do a walk around at the very end, and that is with the occupational therapist, either myself or someone else, because we have other OT volunteers. And so they do a walk around with that driver, and they also get a great goodie bag, but we go over things that we see. Like you mentioned, Percy, if you saw dings or nicks, you'd be of concern. And so we would bring that topic up. We also give them a resource page, and that's where that avenue can open up. Do they need further assistance from a certified driver rehab specialist such as myself, or do they maybe need a refresher course from AARP?
Oh, wow. But so, I mean, you're so passionate about this. What got you involved with driver safety and driver training?
Well, as an occupational therapist, when I was working with patients, and not just the elderly, but I've always had a passion for our senior citizens. Driver rehab was a specialty, and so I decided to continue studying in that area. And then I went on, and it's a professional area for me, but personally I pursued it, went to conferences, and also pursued certification at the national level.
Wow. Just for driving? Just
for driving and driver rehab, yes. And then I went on at the state level to get the certified driver instructor.
And you say you're like one of only 2 in the whole state of Hawaii?
Yes, that has a CDRS.
Wow.
That's certified.
And so this CarFit event, we'll cover it. We'll talk about it in the second half again. But why don't you tell me when the event is, and how can people get the information on that?
Okay, so our next event, and we try to hold 2 in the year, but the first for 2016 is on Saturday, February 20th.
February 20th, okay.
Yeah, February 20th from 8 o'clock to 12 noon. And we're holding that one at Moanaloa High School. Now, Moanaloa High School has a large campus, and so we're going to be using the parking lot closest to the fire station, which is also up towards Salt Lake Boulevard. The address for Moanaloa High School is 2825 Ala Ilima Street. And so don't contact Moanaloa. They have been gracious enough to allow us to use that site. If you want to sign up for this event, you can call 545-6007, which is our AARP partner hotline, their senior hotline where you can register, or you can go to carfit.org and register there online.
Okay, so you can register your parent. Do people bring their parents?
Yes, they do. And they themselves can get fitted. Although this is an event geared towards seniors, anyone can benefit from going through this 12-point checklist. So if you feel that your parent would not go unless you go, or, would not go on their own, or wouldn't do it unless you participate, you can sign up for an appointment for yourself and then sign up one for your parent after. And if there's two, then do 3 appointments, right? If there's 3 drivers.
So it's one-on-one.
One-to-one, yes.
So when you say make an appointment, they have to set a time up before they go?
It's just, yes. And that's just because we're providing 20-minute slots, and all of this is free. And so that we can give them the attention that they need and the specific instructions on how they can best fit in their vehicle.
And so for 2 hours, you said?
No, for the event itself goes from 8 o'clock to 12 noon.
12 noon. Okay.
So they can sign up for those 20-minute free appointments during that time.
And how many instructors are going to be there?
Well, it just depends on how many people we have, but we always try to have about 50 to 60 drivers at least come through, and based on that, we'll have at each station we have about 2 to 4 people. So we have many. We're on the background, and what I'm doing is coordinating all of our volunteers, occupational therapists as well as AARP, and right now trying to get all the volunteers to come in to help for this event.
So you have different occupational therapists from around the state?
Yes. And we've done training. Although they're not certified in driver rehab, CarFit is a basic program where the occupational therapists can learn how to just provide some basic explanation. If the driver needs specialized attention in the area of driver rehab, then they should see a certified driver rehab specialist such as myself.
And you're like, there's only 2 of you or 1 of you in the state?
Yes, that's correct.
So
I know.
You're
Fascinated by that.
I'm fascinated by this, folks. Let's back up. What exactly? Because I work with a physical therapist in a magazine, Julie Moon, which is great. She does land-based and aqua-based.
Yes.
I go there 3 times a week just to work out. So I know what a physical therapist is. What exactly is an occupational therapist?
Okay, so the occupational therapist, I always call it the underdog therapy because people know about PT.
Yeah.
And so we're known as OT or the other therapy, but we don't find people jobs. Okay. What we do, the term occupational therapy is actually means that we're trying to help the person be as independent as they can with all of their activities of daily living. And so that might seem like, oh, what does that mean? But the things that you do every day. So dressing, bathing, eating, and we take those things for granted. But when you're ill or you have a stroke, or maybe you have a spinal cord injury, become paralyzed, all of those things change for you. Now, even as you become elderly, those things can change. You might have trouble swallowing. You might have trouble cutting your food, and you don't, some basic things. You don't have to have a specific illness that's going on, but we try to help that person become as independent as possible. If you're a child, we're helping you in the school system. And in school, you're trying to hold your pen or pencil. So there's a wide variety, just like doctors, where there's specialties in cardiology or orthopedics or other areas. Occupational therapy also has specialty areas. So in the field of occupational therapy, I have specialized in driver rehabilitation. And so I've helped people who have had spinal cord injuries, who need to use a wheelchair, actually drive from a wheelchair and still be able to drive a car. I've had people who have, in their mid-20s, who have had cerebral palsy and, walk with a limp and had thought that they don't have great coordination, thought they could never drive, and have heard about the program or driver rehab, and I've been able to help them get back on the road and independent to driving. Well, not back, but just get on the road to independence. And that's huge because now in those particular cases, they can go off and now work and go out and socialize, and that's huge. Likewise with the elderly, if they're having difficulty in that area and they're having trouble driving, then obviously they want to be safe getting to the place that they're going to. And so hopefully they'll be open about seeing an occupational therapist, a certified driver rehab specialist such as myself, so that they can continue to do the things that they love, take care of the grandchildren that they're taking care of, going to the places
That's
that
a
they
big one
want to.
too.
That is huge.
'Cause,
Yes.
I mean, if you got to work and you have a new baby, grandma and grandpa is the first line of defense.
Definitely,
And,
especially here in Hawaii.
I know a lot of my clients can't do things because they have to take care of their kids,
Yes.
especially on school break.
Oh, definitely.
You know, there's like 36 senior clubs on this island, and they all close down in the summer because they know a lot of people have to babysit the kids in the summer. What's
We're
interesting?
blessed. We're blessed in Hawaii to have our grandparents take care of the grandchildren.
Yeah, it is. So the event's on February 20th at Moanalo High School. Can you give us that number again? We'll do
Sure.
it later on as well, but just when people tune in different times of the show.
So call 545-6007 to register for a free 20-minute appointment for the CarFit event.
And that's the ARP number.
That's an ARP hotline.
I know, I recognize that.
Yes, and so that's that collaboration. So with the occupational therapist, the OT Association of Hawaii works with AARP here in Hawaii, and then AAA Southern California provides supplies and materials for the event, as well as for classroom training for our volunteers.
So what can people expect in that 20-minute one-on-one consultation? What exactly do they do?
So the main
You said
portion,
12 points, right?
yes. So the main bulk of that time is spent on a 12-point checklist. In that 12-point checklist, there are things like looking at, let's say that one of the biggest things, how far you sit away from the steering wheel. Especially here in Hawaii, we have a lot of short people, right? Asians. And then as they're seniors, they tend to shrink a little bit more. And so they might be, getting a little close to that steering wheel. It wasn't as much of a factor in the 70s, I would say, or even early 80s. But now with the onset of airbags in every car, okay, the reason for looking at the distance between the steering wheel and their chest is to make sure that they have enough space, because that airbag can actually do damage if you're too close.
Yeah, and especially if you're older, frail elderly.
Yes. And so
So you don't want to be too close.
You don't want to be too close. And
What's
this
too close?
Closer than
6
10
inches?
inches. Yeah,
10
it could
inches?
be. Yeah, it should be about
Oh, you
10
know that.
inches. Yes. But that's not to scare anyone, because sometimes if you change the distance, then now maybe they cannot reach the pedal. But at the same time, we have to kind of fit everything together, hence the name CarFit. So we look at the height over the steering wheel. I know my mom was very petite. It looked like she barely could see over that steering wheel.
All you can see is her hands.
Yes, just the hands with the little, tight curls on the top because she had the perm, right? And so, but a lot of times, and especially now, the cars are being made with adjustable seats. And sometimes the seniors don't even realize that. They don't know what all the buttons are for. And so sometimes they don't realize how high the chair can go or how low it can go. And they usually know front and, forward and back. But up and down, usually the chairs can go. And so we adjust them as best as they can so that they can be the safest. So you should have a 3-inch clearance over the steering wheel. Okay, and then we do that. I would say a lot of people actually have that because the seats do go higher nowadays, and we can have them get there. But let's say, for example, you have a really petite person, and they all of a sudden now are scooted back, but they can't reach the pedal. Well, as occupational therapists, when we do the checkout, I'll look at the car with them, and I'll think, well, should we just keep them a little closer? And there's an option to potentially turn off the airbag, or do they maybe want pedal extensions?
They can turn off the airbag?
Sometimes you can turn off the airbag, yes.
Oh, I didn't know
yeah,
that. How do you do that?
Well, I wouldn't do. We don't do that. They would need to pursue that.
Okay.
That's something a little
Good
bit
answer.
bigger. But yeah, we wouldn't definitely do that at the event, and that's not something that I would overly advocate. But it depends on if you're like. There are small people there. So if there's 4'6", a 4'6" little petite senior that's very healthy but just can't reach the pedal, there are things called pedal extensions.
Oh, there
and
are?
we can, yes, and it's really cool. They're very handy and readily available. And so that's where you
get
need
it
to
from the car store? Or
no,
online?
you'll need to get it from a vendor that needs to install it. But that's where a person like myself, with my background of being a driver rehab specialist, can help guide that person and at least lead them in that direction.
Oh, you don't do that? You don't do the installation?
I don't do the installation. No, I'm the recommendation. I'm
I
the
didn't even know
the
you had
consult.
that.
Yes. And sometimes, depending on, there's different makes and models. So some might be easier to install than others. But that at least I'm a resource, and so I'm
Great.
always a resource. So people are welcome to contact me. Aside from CarFit, they're welcome to contact me.
Wow. Okay. So we did 10 inches from the steering wheel,
Yes.
the chest, 3 inches above the
top of the steering wheel.
steering wheel.
Yes.
Okay, that's
For clearance. That's what we kind of hope for.
yeah. What else?
Well, so then there's also the neck, the way your neck is placed. And so a lot of people think that head support in the back is a support. It's actually a head restraint. So people call it a head support, thinking that it's supposed to go at that curve of your neck, like your neck is supposed to rest there. But it actually is supposed to, the best way to say it is, it's supposed to hit toward the middle part of your head. It's supposed to be against the middle part of that head restraint.
Oh, really?
Yes, and that's to prevent whiplash.
I
So a lot of people think maybe it's there right to fit in that curve of your neck, like a head rest, but it is not. So for some reason, if you have to stop the car suddenly, that head restraint, okay, is going to be there so your head won't whip back and hopefully prevent injury.
Okay, so the neck rest, what do you call it, neck rest? Head rest.
The head restraint, yeah.
Head
yeah,
restraint.
or neck restraint,
Okay.
yes.
So we covered 3 now.
3.
Remember the
Well,
other
there are
ones?
9 more. Yes, I mean,
Okay.
there's others.
Okay.
There's so many others, but that's why we want you to come for the free appointment because you might think that it's easy to do and it's good for you to look over at home, but it's good that you get the education from those who have been trained. Going through this CarFit event, you'll be working with volunteers that have been trained by myself or my co-coordinator, Pamela Anderson, who herself is an occupational therapy assistant. And so we've held classes in the past. We've been doing this together since 2009.
Really?
And holding
Wow.
events. Yes, I was trained back in 2008. So I was one of the first people that was trained. And then I picked up a person who was together. Pamela and I started doing them together since 2009. And then we've made partnerships with and collaborated with locally ARP as well as AAA SoCal. And so we've tried to hold at least 2 events per year since that time. And so the people that we have at our event are all trained by us, have had training, formal training in a classroom setting.
Other occupational therapists?
Not only other occupational therapists, but other ARP representatives. So there's a variety of things that can be done at the event. And so the occupational therapist does the final checkout for sure. That's the one station that is reserved for occupational therapists. They can also do the 12-point checklist, but if anyone wants to come out and volunteer and be part of this class, they're welcome to learn how to do the 12-point checklist. But it is a formal class for about 4 hours that they need to go through.
To get certified or...
To get certified as a CarFit technician, train. And certified just means that you're going through something formal, right? You don't want someone, like anywhere you go when you get a service, you don't want someone just kind of guessing at what they're doing.
Or only cover 10. The 12 checkpoints.
You're right. Yes. Or go to 15 and the other 3 are unnecessary. Yeah. Right. Yes. Yes. So that's why, we just do this again for the community. Again, for the elderly safety. And like you said, we have a passion for helping them. We want to be a resource. It is a free appointment. I keep saying that because I know that everyone wants something free. This is a new year. Come out and get a free appointment. Help your, parent or even yourself. Like I said, you can come out and do it. There's really no age, although it is geared towards seniors. But you're welcome to make an appointment yourself.
And so what are some of the issues that drivers have as you get older?
Oh, there's a
variety. Besides being able to turn your neck?
Yeah, there's a variety, unfortunately. And these, of course, are for the ones that are really experiencing these symptoms. Of course, you have your spectrum that are super fit, right? That might not feel anything. But for just basically on average, Percy, you mentioned turning the neck. That always becomes harder, turning the body.
As you get older.
Even just, and they might not realize this, but even the reaction time going from the brake or the gas to the brake and vice versa. And I think reaction is a huge area because today we have, especially you see in Hawaii, the lanes are becoming more narrow.
Yeah,
right?
the highway.
And the
I've noticed
texting is occurring even if it's not supposed to. So things occur so quickly and now with less, with less space occurring. So like if someone kind of just makes a quick little swerve, they might be in your lane and you need to react.
Yeah.
So another thing is also lane control. So the ability to stay in your lane, and that could be due to vision. And a lot of times the seniors will notice that their night vision is not as crisp and as clear. And so you tend to see seniors giving up their nighttime driving, and that might be actually appropriate. I think anytime a senior is not comfortable with, or just anyone in general, but we're discussing seniors, if they're not comfortable driving in the evening, then they shouldn't. And if they're wondering if they should, then again, they can get an evaluation through a certified driver rehab
you don't have a
specialist.
person at your event that does any vision testing, do they?
No,
That'd be
but
a good one.
that becomes, well, the CarFit is a structured program. So then they would come to see a person like myself, again, with those credentials that can go ahead or they can see their optometrist or the ophthalmologist. I mean, if they're just worried specifically about the vision. But seeing a certified driver rehab specialist would go through a whole a clinical portion as well as a behind the wheel portion.
Yeah, because I know, what is it, after the age of 80, they have to get their driver's license renewed every 2
years, yes.
And do they have to take a driver's test at that age?
I'm not sure
I
if
know
they,
they have to take a vision test.
Well, the vision test is
Always, no matter how old you are.
Always. And so, but anytime you have a significant change in medical condition, you're supposed to have a physician's clearance to drive if it changes you significantly, because that means that something has changed in your body. Now, that's not just with the elderly. That's even with, young adults, anything that happens, like a stroke or anything like that. You should have a physician's clearance to drive.
Yeah, it's very,
That's
very
another
important.
topic.
So So we were with Sandra Wataoka, occupational therapist, and you're over at Charter Rehab right now.
I'm at Chart Rehab, yes.
And that's the one on King Street.
Yes.
Right, okay. And so as an occupational therapist, she does this CarFit program. And the next one is coming up on February 20th. I'm sure you can have one later on in the year, right?
Yes, we usually try to have one in October. That's usually when AAA Southern California comes down, and we tend to do a co-event with them. They come down to help and bring supplies also. Okay. They also, I know this is about seniors, but when they come in October, they offer a teen driver program, and we help them also reciprocate with promoting that here in Hawaii.
Oh, that's very good, very good. Okay, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after this short message.
Percy from Generations Radio. If you have any questions or want to be part of our discussion, give us a call at 296-5467. That's 296-5467. This is Generations Radio on AM 690 The Answer.
Moon Physical Therapy is here to help you back to recovery. Moon Physical Therapy is located on Ward Avenue across from Sports Authority. Physician prescribed for motor vehicle accidents, workman's comp, or that body pain that comes from rushing to play without warming up. Also event cardiopulmonary rehabilitation with our one-on-one patient care. Moon's Aquatherapy heated endless pool allows for low-impact exercise with less pain on land. We will give you the right exercises to get you back to health. Ask your doctor to prescribe Moon Physical Therapy. Moon Physical Therapy. We achieve results.
Aloha, this is Martha Clopin.
And Al Harrington. Choosing the right Medicare plan not only saves you money, it also helps you avoid headaches and heartaches down the road.
We want to remind everyone
to listen to a Medicare Moment with Martha, Sundays from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we help answer important questions on Medicare so you can stay healthy, wealthy, and wise all year long.
Call me at 543-2073, 543-2073.
I was an addict from the age of 13. I finally decided it was time for a change. I walked into the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center, and that got me ready for the real world. Now, I choose to be guided by Jesus Christ, and today, I'm building a powerful and promising future, free from drugs and alcohol.
Please shop at the Salvation Army family stores. With our discounted sales, your support through your purchase helps men live a clean, sober, and productive life.
Got Vegas on your mind? Get Vacations Hawaii on the line. Vacations Hawaii offers weekly 4 and 5 night Honolulu to Vegas packages, which include 3 meals daily from $6.99. Stay at Hawaii's favorite casinos, California, Fremont, Main Street Station, and Orleans Hotel. Vacations Hawaii will get you there in comfort on deluxe wide-body 767 planes with complimentary in-flight hot meal service. Vacations Hawaii's frequent flyer program gives you future travel discounts and credits. So if you're ready to win big, call Vacations Hawaii at 591-4777 or visit pointVacationsHawaii.com.
Today, more than ever, we local people are living longer than any other state in the Union, with more seniors, baby boomers, and caregivers. Generations Radio promotes the importance to be proactive as we all age. The radio team will focus on issues facing our seniors and their families, finding resources to navigate healthy aging along with financial, legal, and caregiving information. So join Percy E. Hauer from 5 until 6 each Saturday, right here on AM 690 The Answer. Focusing on the issues facing our seniors and their families today. Here's our Generations Radio host, Percy Ihara.
Welcome back to Generations Radio here. This is Percy Ihara with Sandra Wataoka from the CarFit program. So, Sandy, thanks for coming again. I did want to, first of all, tell you that the new Generations magazine is out, as you guys know, the December-January issue, featuring Father Petrie on the cover. The father down at Kalapapa in Molokai. What a great story. And it's so cute. He sent me a picture, a Christmas card of the different church people down in Kalapapa. It was really great. And unfortunately, I couldn't make the photo shoot. I couldn't go down to Kalapapa because you have to be invited to go there. But beautiful, lush campus they have over there, the properties over there. But what a great story. He worked for Mother Teresa for 25 years and had a passion to work with Hansen disease patients, and he's been there for about, I believe, 5 or 6 years, 7 years. So thanks to Father Bill there. A lot of great stories in here. Our new business partner, we have an inside front cover, Kalakaua Gardens, the new premier senior living community there. I believe it's going to be taking reservations this month starting. I think some of them will be moving in probably by February, maybe early March. There will be a grand opening in sometime early April. So thanks to Steve Nawahine, the new general manager there, and he'll be on the show very shortly. Next week, we're going to be talking to Nancy Schnur, a architect in a magazine, talking about aging in place and maybe the different things you can do to your house. One of our new partners in the magazine is Kalanui has a new adult day center called Living Well or Live Well at Iwalei. And the good part about that, it's right downtown. So if you have parents that may need to look at adult day center, it's a great facility, brand new. The good part about it, they're serving the same food there as they do at Kalanui. And so that's a 5-star hotel pretty much if you've ever been there. So check them out. You can go for a free tour. Call Lynn Wong over there at 218-7777. So thank you very much to the Kalanui family and Live Well at Iwalei. Also, Peterson Rosario, new partner. He is with Legal Shield. And specifically, he's really pushing this identity theft protection. Very minimal, I think like $9 or $10 a month. And it'll alert you if anybody checks on your credit, anything coming out regarding identity. So very interesting program there. I actually got it myself because I have to protect our family as well. And also the Generations magazine family. Thanks to Hawaii Parkinson's Association. Now, that's a really great organization. You can, if you need more information, email them at info@parkinsonshawaii.org or give them a call, 528-0935. And, of course, the Kaiser, every year, they really help us out, and including Straub. So you can go online at generations808.com as well and can read all our past issues. Download this copy as well. And we're really getting excited to get the year going in 2016. Well, I almost said 2016. So, Sandy, we cover a lot of different programs every year, and we may want you guys to come to our Aging in Place event as well. If you got to make a note, August 20th, we have a big event at the Alamon Hotel, and 2015 we had 1,600 people.
That's terrific, Percy.
So we might want to have Driving is so important to seniors because they don't want to bother their kids or their grandkids, right?
Yeah.
It's really, if they give the car keys up, they lose a lot of independence. But I will tell you, make a note, guys. Catholic Charities has their own van service. They even have new small vans that they're as small as 4 to 6 people in a van, and they will go as far as Wahiawa. I know they've done North Shore, but they'll take you to appointments. It's free transportation. Pretty much, it's a donation only. And Catholic Charities has a lot of space. The bus has their own handy vans, which are really great, but the Catholic Charities is really growing, and very soon they are looking to have volunteer drivers to drive at night because they only drive from, I think, 7 to 5 p.m. So Catholic Charities is growing, and they have new vans. I just saw them this morning. I was kind of surprised. They're like minivans, 6 to 7 people, and they'll go as far as Wahiawa. And I think if you ask them really nicely, they might go to North Shore. But I know they go to West Side, they go to Windward Side, they go to Hawaii Kai, but it's a great service, and so check them out. Anyway, so Sandy, this event, February 20th, remember I was telling you, we covered 3 of the 12 points. What are some of the questions that people really ask you?
So some of the questions that we tend to get are very basic, but they don't know what to do about it. So the seniors drive up and they see the seatbelt is cutting across my neck. Yeah. And so they feel like, especially those who are really petite, they feel like the strap is digging into their neck. And while they're driving, it either leaves a mark or it's just irritating them or bothering them. And so when I say that that's basic, what I mean by that is they obviously, we want them to use the seatbelt. We don't want them to put it under their shoulders because a lot of them end up putting it under their shoulder and then don't have it going across their shoulder. They have
to have it going
right.
across.
In order to protect them, you want it in that 3-point protection, the shoulder and the 2 hips. And so there's an adjustable device usually on the side of the car that can go up and down, and usually it's just a push.
It's a clip or something, right?
Yeah, there's you can call it that, but usually slides up and down. That's connected to the seatbelt where the seatbelt inserts, and that can actually be moved up or down, and that can help a lot of times with where the seatbelt lands on their shoulder. And so sometimes it's usually so high up that that's where it's coming up and cutting their neck area or brushing up against the neck, where they can just slide it down, and then it can be more placed across their shoulder, better placement, and much safer, as well as preventing that senior from hopefully not putting it pushing it down and putting it under across their chest. So that's one of those, and whenever we tell someone that, they're just amazed at, what a difference that makes. That small little difference of moving that seatbelt down. They always give us comments that that's incredible. There's a lot of other learning that they do with that they learn about as we go through the checklist. They're always so grateful, and we've had great successes at all of our events.
So what are some of the safety issues that they really have to be concerned about? But you cover things like stopping properly at the stop sign, pedestrian safety, or is just how your car fits you? So
for this particular event, it's just how the car fits the driver. But if they have other questions like that, then I'm at every event. With my background, I can go over that, especially as a certified driver instructor. But hopefully, because everyone's a driver, most of the people volunteering are drivers themselves. Hopefully, everyone will know the rules and regulations. But like you mentioned, stopping behind the stop line, that is huge, especially here in Hawaii. And I have many relatives and friends that don't do that, and it gets scary, because you just don't know if that person's going to stop.
We're in a hurry. We're busy. We're doing a lot of stuff,
So those basic things like stopping behind the stop line are huge. And also taking that pause, because if you notice nowadays, many people are walking across the street, texting or looking at their phones or just using their phones, and they're not paying attention to those cars that are supposed to be stopping. And so if you're also the driver and not paying attention and not fully stopping, and you're thinking you can just go, you might end up hitting a pedestrian and things like that. And so this CarFit event, it's fitting the driver to the car, but it actually can become a starting point for many other conversations about driver safety.
Yeah. Are there any common you see in Hawaii besides the height of the driver, things that people are doing wrong?
Well, it's not so much wrong, but I do see, a lot of because the seniors do tend to be a lot more smaller, right, in stature, so that adjusting the seat up and down, like we talked about, is a big thing, and seeing over the windshield. I have questions about whether people are, can they use their slippers or not while they're driving? And there's no law against it. Okay. And actually my answer is what we call functional one. If you feel better not using your slipper and driving barefoot, then if that is the safest way to drive, then for you, then you should do it the safest way as possible. Okay.
But is it safe driving with slippers?
The slipper can get caught.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But if you've ever worn high heels, the high heel can get in the way too.
No, I have not worn high heels before. Just
Percy, you have not? No. But so everyone needs to really take into account what is the safest position and situation for them, and then really do that. So if you have someone who's diabetic, and they're driving but they're slowly beginning to feel they're losing sensation in their leg, and then maybe driving barefoot is better, or they might need to see someone with, like myself, with the background of being able to assess them. Do they need alternative type of driving? We could do driving with hand controls, things like that. That's a whole nother area. That's not CarFit, but those are, like I said, CarFit can bring up these kinds of questions and these kind of resources that people can pursue if they have those concerns.
So that the high heel thing. How do people drive with high heels?
Well, when
they take the shoes off.
Yes. Well, I do when and I take if I'm wearing a stocking or a nylon, I'll take it off because that becomes slippery. You shouldn't drive in your socks. You
shouldn't drive with your socks.
Well, no, because it can be slippery.
Oh,
with any, but so sometimes that might seem common sense, but you just don't know what people are doing out there, right? Just like you shouldn't text and drive, but people still do it, unfortunately.
Yeah. So every year, you see a driver drive through the windshield, or drive through the door of a store or something, or they press the wrong gas pedal. Does that happen because of accident, or is it because they had a stroke, or they're dizzy, or what caused that? Just an accident?
Yeah, I think many of them are just unfortunately accidents, and we do tend to have a lot of our elderly still first of all, we have higher number of elderly than the national, than the mainland,
lead the nation.
Right? And then many of those elderly are healthier and still working, again, higher than the, national average. And so they're in their cars more. And so I think when these incidents occur, unfortunately, it does get media attention so easily nowadays with social media. I can recall in my head, there's a couple of incidences, and one was, I think someone was moving his friend's car that had adaptive equipment, which he shouldn't have. And so he thought he could use it, and he couldn't. And unfortunately, I think there was a fatality in that one. So that was a unfortunate pure accident. The others also, I think, are when they always say they just thought the gas was the brake was the gas. I'm not, I don't know the background on what was going on with those drivers, but those things unfortunately can happen. I think that the attention tends to be toward the elderly, and especially in Hawaii, we have just so many, and so it's not uncommon to have someone 65 years or older driving out there on the road, right?
65 is
I know.
not
I was
old.
going to say it's not old here in Hawaii.
85 is not old. I have relatives in the 90s still driving.
I agree. I've put a 92-year-old back on the road.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, how'd you do that?
He went through I evaluated him, and I saw him fit to drive. No, I actually did a full comprehensive evaluation with him. I did a clinic and a behind the wheel, and he could still drive. I don't know how he would need to see me again, potentially, if, when his license expired. But I don't think he continued to drive much after I cleared him for that, but because I didn't see him again. But he was still able to drive. And so it's not always about age. I'm definitely a senior advocate. I'm comfortable personally with my own age, and they say women shouldn't say their age or anything like that. But I think that basically what I'm trying to say, it's not always the age, it's just how your body changes. And so for you to understand how your body changes, that's why we have this CarFit event again, not just for seniors, but anyone could come. We do geared toward the seniors, but if you're interested and you're not sure if your parent wants to come, please, by all means, you register first, and then we'll have another event later in the year.
Yeah.
We've had great comments. We've held them in Kaimuki High School in the past, right near that farmer's market at Kapiolani. We've had people just drive in. So we do prefer appointments, but we've had drive-bys or drive-ins, just on the fly. They see our event going on, and we want to accept everybody. So you're welcome that way also. We've accommodated them. And the next thing you know, they're giving us their lettuce, manoa lettuce that they bought at the farmer's market because they're so grateful, right? That's how it is here in Hawaii. Everyone's always so generous and grateful. But many of them learn a lot. They go out with a bag of goodies and resources. Sometimes they are worried about their vision, and maybe this event just gives them that little spark to, hey, I better get to my eye doctor just to make sure, because I haven't been there for a while, and my vision's kind of getting blurry. So,
yeah, it's a big thing. We'll have to get you to write an article later on this year for your next one down the road there. So again, it's February 20th at Moanalo High School, and so the phone number, they don't call you, do they?
No, they don't call me to register. They call 545-6007 to register for a free 20-minute appointment. But you're welcome to contact me for questions regarding CarFit or any other questions in general about driver rehab.
By the way, Sandy, what is your number, by the way?
Well, my number, I give out two numbers, but my home number is 808-422-8288.
And Sandy here is a certified driver rehabilitation specialist. Oh. So you can actually help drivers to not only be safe and make the car fit their body, but really help them to get back on the road, possibly.
Yes, or get on the road if they've never driven, right? Yes. Not just seniors.
You're a certified driver instructor anyway.
Yes.
Oh.
I didn't need to be I'm trying to continue with all the education, but just there are people out there, kids that have disabilities that have never driven and don't realize that there's adaptive equipment that can help them drive. And it's not just an evaluation. A lot of times they do need training with the equipment. And even those who have had strokes, like elderly with strokes, they'll need training with certain equipment if I prescribe it. But there is a means to be able to drive usually.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the number one form of independence. And if they can't drive anymore, I've seen several of my clients and several of my friends trying to get the keys away from the cars. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you a quick story. I was going out to Hawaii Kai along Kalani on the Ole Highway, and I was behind this old Toyota. And if you remember back in the early 80s, the first luxury Toyota was called a Toyota Cressida. And I'm behind this car, and it was really old. And looking at the car, I'm going, look, this car looks familiar. Then I looked down to the bumper. I saw yellow. Somebody painted yellow paint on the back of the bumper because it was chipping off. It must have been there for a while. So I look in the back window. All you see is hands. You know it's a small little lady, right? So me being Nelly, when a light turned green, you turn left onto Lulililo Home Road, and the car was going so slow, you could have walked faster than that car. And I'm going, oh my God, this is not good. So being Nelly, I went around to the right side by Hawaii Kai Library, and I looked to my left, and I looked in there and go, uh-oh, that's my auntie. It was my auntie. I pulled on the side of the road. I called my cousin. I said, cousin, you got to get your mom off the road. She is scary. She shouldn't be driving. And he goes, I know. That's why I painted yellow on the back of the bumper so nobody gets close to her car. I said, wow, you're smart. But she got to get off the road. And unfortunately, she's got, I believe, dementia now later on. And but she was still driving. I have another relative in a 92 still driving.
Yeah, that's especially with people with dementia. That's a really sensitive and it's challenging.
Yeah.
I have worked with people with dementia. How do you get them in, to see me? Well, it is by usually I work off of doctor referrals.
Oh, okay.
Because they're usually. I want to know the reason why the senior is being referred. If there's some kind of medical condition. And so I like to work with their physician. But even at that, it's insurance doesn't cover for a driver, rehabilitation evaluation. This is separate from CarFit, right? This is if they need further assistance. And so insurance doesn't cover, unless it's for some reason, maybe workers' comp or voc rehab, but no, it's a private pay. And so they don't have to come in. But for those that have come in, sometimes I have found deficits, But at the same time, I've been able to help keep some maybe on the road for another year or so. But dementia is always a challenging area. Some I've had to say, no, I don't think you're fit for driving, and make recommendations. And then from there, pass those recommendations on to the physician. That all gets coordinated with the DMV, and other things occur where if the person should not be on the road, then DMV might need to follow up with that person. But that's really for the safety, of not only that person, but the community. But I do want to emphasize the flip. The flip is that the program is there to try to help the seniors and others become safe drivers. So in my area of work as a certified driver rehabilitation specialist, I'm trying to help the person stay on the road or get driving. Okay, whether you're a senior or whether you're a high school student learning to look to drive. I'm not there to try to red pen necessarily, but if you do have a deficit, can I help you with that? Do we need equipment? Do you need to take extra classes? Do you need training with me? What do you need so that you can be a safe and independent driver in the community? But if you just cannot, and there are no other resources, then the recommendations will need to be made accordingly.
Yeah. Does the DMV ever get involved with this program? Or do they refer people to you at all?
So I have worked with the DMV in the past. Yes. Because, like you said, there's only a couple of people that are certified in the state. Yes.
Well, it's such a big issue. Driving is besides, I would say, besides decluttering your house, driving is another major important topic to really talk to your parents about.
Yeah.
Besides being safe living by themselves. But it really is. I mean, everywhere I go, I had a client came to me and said, "Can you talk to my daughters?" I said, "No, you talk to your daughters." So they said, I do finance, right? So I want to get a mortgage because I want to buy a new car. It was at the time, I believe she was 86 years old and petite little lady, and the daughter's going, "You don't need a new car, Mom. You shouldn't be driving anyway." She goes, "Yes, I do, because I'm 86 years old and all my friends don't drive anymore. I have to be their chauffeur." So every day she picks up 3 or 4 ladies every day, take them to the store, take them to the senior club in Kaneohe, help them with a doctor, or to go eat lunch. Almost every day she picks up 3 or 4 ladies. So she says, I have to drive. And I don't want to drive an old car when it might break down. So that was so cute, but it's true. Transportation is huge.
Definitely. Yes, it is.
So, Sandra, a few more minutes. Give us some tips, a couple good tips that you could just lay out there, and then we'll give you a number and information after we finish.
Well, I think in particular for seniors, when you're driving, you always want to make sure that you're driving at a time of day that's comfortable for you and that you know the routes where you're going, so that you don't question yourself in the middle of driving. So make sure that you've had a good night's rest, get your full attention on the road. You want to make sure that you're mentally sharp, and so that you're taking all of your medications, and of course not taking or are under the influence of any medications that make you sleepy or drowsy. And of course, don't drink and drive. When you get in the car, you make sure that your seatbelt is definitely on and that you have no distractions around you, not even the radio, unless it's Percy, of course. But just making sure that you have the least distractions as possible so that you can have all your attention on the road. Even those basic tips, we take it for granted, but a lot of people don't do those things, drive sleepy, or they're trying to text or run out the road and then speed. And especially here in Hawaii, one of the things I noticed is that we tend to go high above the speed limit. And sometimes it's the elderly that's actually abiding by the law that looks like, they're going too slowly, but maybe they're actually going speed limit when everyone else is speeding. But those are some of the tips. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to give me a call, or you can contact me via email, which is just Sandra Wataoka, my first and last name, sandrawataoka@gmail.com. I'm always a resource here for the state. I'm on the national committee of our National Association for Driver Rehab. So I'll be glad to help and answer any questions that you might have just in the area of driver rehab and driver safety and education. The phone number you can call me at, home number is best because I am in the clinic, so I'll get back to you in the evening, but area code 808-422-8288. Again, 422-8288, or email is usually best, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Okay. Well, listen, Sandy, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you,
Like I said,
Percy.
we want to get into magazines, so maybe the fall event we'll do it. But your event's February 20th at Wanalo High School.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Appreciate it. And I'll try and get it out to your event. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, every week, Saturday, 5 to 6, Sunday from 3 to 4, here on AM 690, The Answer. And so aloha and live well.